it's awesome, man. It's a game week. It seems like it took a little while to get here, but yet at the same time, it went so fast during training camp. So it's exciting to think that we got a couple days left of preparation here, and we're going to get on a plane and head to Knoxville, Tennessee, and open up on Thursday night against a great football team in Tennessee.
We'll start with questions in-house, and then we'll go to Zoom. So go ahead, Robbie.
Yeah, I guess obviously you guys played at Penn State last year, a big environment. How does that kind of help get the guys prepared for what they're gonna see on Thursday?
Certainly, the guys that made that trip a year ago, that'll help. Just because it was obviously a great environment, loud. You got to make sure you focus on obviously communication, making sure you can hear the snap, all those things. So the guys that made that trip will definitely benefit from that, but certainly for a lot of guys, this will be the first time in this kind of environment. So awesome, one of the best stadiums in college football to have 100,000 plus, great atmosphere. And we've been prepping as much as we possibly can to make it hard in practice to hear, because that's, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, making sure that the guys that are outside on the perimeter, they got to focus on the ball if they can't hear.
I guess last year, maybe not the start you guys wanted. How do you get off to kind of a quicker start here against a tough Tennessee?
Really, all we're focused on is just making sure we keep it simple, man. We got to go out and focus on the process, just take it one play at a time. I know a lot of times that's a boring answer, but it really is true. You got a next play mentality. No matter what happens, good or bad, you just got to focus on the next play. We've worked our tail off on conditioning since we started the process, even during summer workouts and back in spring practice. So it's a great challenge with the tempo that Tennessee plays with, and certainly could be a little bit hotter in Knoxville, Tennessee, perhaps, than it is in Muncie, Indiana right now. So we just got to be ready to handle the weather and feel confident about the work the guys put in.
Yeah, talk about that tempo. How do you guys kind of prepare for that fast-paced offense that Tennessee likes to run?
The defensive staff has done a great job. Coach Stockton, obviously we know that's a challenge, and when you have a team like Tennessee that's game number one on your schedule, we've been working on tempo back in spring practice. We've been working on tempo quite a bit during training camp. I think our guys that are on the scout team, given a look and the organization that it takes to make sure that you can run a high number of plays. We played a four-quarter game yesterday. We played a four-quarter game today, and really it starts with the look, by the scouts, and they've done a tremendous job the last couple of days of really being bought in to what we're, to the speed of the game. Certainly, you try to replicate it as much as you can in practice, but it'll be certainly something that the speed of the game on Thursday night will be a challenge.
Go ahead. You talked about the look with Hendon Hooker. How do you try to slow him down?
Well, obviously it's tough to slow him down when a guy can throw it like that, and he's got that kind of size and athletic ability, can hurt you with his legs as well. That's a challenge, and so we work a ton around here on tackling, on open field tackling. So guys just have to do a good job. Obviously we know that he's a threat when he pulls the ball down or on a designed run. So that's just part of the challenge when you play a quarterback that's truly a dual threat guy like that can throw it at a high level and can run it at a high level. And, by the way, he's got great size.
Trying to expose the Tennessee defense a little bit, what are some of those things that you can do to do that?
Well, they got a great front. They returned several starters on that defensive unit, and so it all starts with making sure we're able to slow them down up front. We got to have a good game plan in place and make sure that we give John, who's making his first start for us, give him a chance to go out and play and play where he's not thinking too much, and just go out and relax and play the game and have some fun and truly take it one snap at a time. But it's a great challenge against a team that certainly has great speed from the teams that we played in the past. Certainly these guys, you can see the athleticism and speed as soon as you turn on the tape.
What are the day-to-day things that John has done to get him ready for a game like this?
He's got great work habits. I think that's the thing about John. He's so committed to the process, and when I say the process, what it takes from a full week of preparation in terms of studying your opponent, practicing at a high level on the practice field, being a great leader, making sure the team periods in practice where it's an offensive emphasis, he approaches it like a game. And, he'll come in, certainly when you're at the point he is in his academic career where he's graduated and he's not as stressed out about the academic part of it. That certainly helps him with his preparation. And, John's very committed to that. And, it's been good to see how hard he's worked and to get himself ready for this opportunity.
Mike, it's obviously a really long summer. Waking up, showing up at the practice does that feel for not just you, but what was the energy level like with the team?
I think it's incredible. I mean, it's such a, just to be able to do this for a living and to be able to come and, try to help college student athletes try to get better each and every day. And we know they've got a busy schedule where they're here with us for a short time during the day. Then when we're done, they got to go to class and handle that business. For us as coaches, we get to go attack the film room. We get to go watch your practice and clean that up. And then, we still got a couple days left here of preparation. So, but it's awesome. Football season, man, there's nothing like it. And just to be able to drive in every morning and know that, man, we're about to play a football game. We're about to put a helmet on, shoulder pads on. It's going to have some decals on it. We're going to lace them up for real.
Last one for me, obviously, the landscape of college football has changed over the last couple of years. How do you feel like some of these new guys via the portal have come in and, forced themselves into legitimate playing time?
Yeah, and I credit our staff, our entire staff, and not just the coaches that are on the field coaches, but the graduate assistants, the support staff that we have, because we try to work really hard in recruiting to do our due diligence. We want to make sure that the young men that we're bringing in here are high character, great work ethic, great fit for our program, and I've been very pleased with the guys that have joined our program, whether it was back in January, it was during the summertime, or here during fall camp. I think the players that are in our program that take a ton of pride in just doing things the right way, practicing at a high level, carrying themselves with class. It's been good to see those guys jump on board with some of those standards, and to me, that's what's so awesome about being the head football coach of a Division I college football program, when you can try to help guys be the best version of themselves.
All right, we'll open it up to Zoom.
We'll start with Kyle, Daily News.
Hi, Coach. This is Kyle Smedley with Ball State Daily News. I think, when we look at this game, it's obviously a huge deal because, first game of the season and it's against a SEC opponent. Can the importance of this game really be understated?
Obviously every game is important. When you're only guaranteed to play 12, they're all important. Yes, this is a great challenge. Some of the non-conference opponents that we have on our schedule, whether it's been in the past or whether it's this year or in the future, I mean, those are great opportunities for our program to be able to play at Tennessee, Neyland Stadium, awesome atmosphere against a team that's on the rise. It's a great opportunity for our guys, but I've also told them every day in the meeting, you got to keep it simple. You can't make it bigger than it is. You got to focus on just one play at a time. I know sometimes that can sound, but you got to just focus one play at a time, man. Obviously, we can't get ahead of ourselves. Don't get caught up in who we're playing. You just do your job to the best of your ability. We just continue to do that, have that mentality for 4 quarters, then we'll see what the scoreboard says.
Yeah. And I guess if I could ask another question, what's the atmosphere been like in the locker room and in practice? I mean, guys surely are getting excited because the season's about to start. What's that been like?
It's been awesome. Every day when you get one step closer to actually playing in a football game and knowing that it's going to get real, it's awesome. It's been extremely loud at practice, so I would imagine on the practice field they haven't been able to carry on much of a conversation. So in the locker room, after practice is over or before we take the practice field, we got a good locker room. We got a great group of quality young men that are high character and take a lot of pride in that. And I'm proud of our guys that are leaders on our team for just showing guys how to do things the right way.
We'll move to Jimmy next. Jimmy, you have to...
Can you hear me now? Okay. Coach, do you feel like your defense will be improved over what it was a year ago?
I do. I feel like the depth on our defensive line and the experience on our defensive line, that was something that stood out early in the offseason. Back in January, as we went into spring practice, this is as deep of a D-line unit that we've had since I've been here. So proud of the work, proud of the confidence that they're playing with right now. And it's going to be a great challenge. Anytime you're playing a team the caliber of Tennessee, it's a great challenge for those guys up front. And, oh, by the way, they just happen to run about 3 plays a minute at an extremely fast pace. So it's going to be a great challenge for our guys. And, we've worked hard. And it's, those guys are big athletes, man, and I've been proud of what our strength staff has done with them. certainly how serious they take the strength and conditioning piece and how hard they practice.
Also, I think you had a chance to coach a guy named Andy Kelly years ago, Arena Football League. Tell me about your relationship with Andy Kelly.
Well, I love Andy Kelly. I was teammates with him for a year in Nashville, Tennessee. He was the starting quarterback. I just really rode Andy's coattails, if you want to know the truth. Andy Kelly was everything in Tennessee, and it was awesome to be able to be teammates with him. I was roommates with him, and then my first year as a coach happened to be in 1998. So I'm the quarterback coach, and I'm calling plays for a guy that's older than me. So really that, back then in the Arena League, the play calling consisted of the offense coordinator was on the field, the quarterback would come over every play, and I would just ask him, what do you want to run? Yep, that's what I want to run too. That sounds great. So I still communicate with Andy. I know he's going to be at the game. I hope there's an opportunity somehow, some way to say hi. But consider Andy a great friend. I know what he's meant to Tennessee and to that program. And obviously he's a great human being that's extremely humble and fortunate to be have a great friendship with him.
One more thing from me, offensive line. Do you see it being better than it was a year ago?
I'm excited that we've got, we had some injuries last year where, we went into, some games where we had a different starting five, and certainly that was a challenge just because of the cohesiveness. But we've got 5 guys back that are starting up front that have started a lot of games for us here at Ball State. So it's been good to see them grow. This is their first time being back together in fall camp. We missed a few of them that weren't ready to go yet for spring practice. So I've been proud of the work, and you can just see them gelling more and more every single day. So it's great to have those guys back and healthy, and certainly it all starts with the guys in the trenches.
All right, we'll move over to David now.
All right, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Just curious, Alex Golish spoke the other day about studying you guys on film and just the number of different faces you've got. How many new guys on defense do you have, and just the challenge of facing a team like this out of the gate?
Yeah, we've got several new guys on the defensive side of the ball, but we also certainly return. I know outside of our program, it looks like we graduated 30-plus players. We must be reloading, retooling, whatever you want to call it. But we still have quite a few guys that started a lot of games for us. You look across the defensive line, a lot of those guys played a lot of football for us. You look at the linebacking group. Yes, we graduated guys like Christian Albright and Jay Thomas, but we also returned a lot of guys that have played a lot of football. And then on the back end of it, both corners are returning starters from a year ago. The 2 safeties that'll be starting will be new. They've been Malcolm Lee's been part of our program for a long time, played at a high level on special teams, so he'll become a full-time starter in the secondary. So we do have some new faces. Obviously, we've added some key pieces back in January or during the summertime. So, but Coach Stockton and the defensive staff do such a good job of getting those guys prepared, and they'll be ready to go. Certainly, it's a great challenge, like I've mentioned already, playing a team that plays such an up-tempo pace like Tennessee. But we'll be ready to go and try to get as many guys out there. That we've been able to practice, week in, week out here the last several weeks, and just go play and cut it loose.
Then my other question is, you talked earlier about, with the tempo, just moving on to the next play being key. Tennessee was the best first quarter team in college football last year, obviously led Alabama and Georgia in the first quarter. What is the key to, try to calm folks down if Tennessee does hit with a couple of quick touchdowns kind of thing early?
Yeah, certainly it challenges your discipline. When you play a team that fast, certainly it all starts with being able to get lined up, get the call communicated if they come out in different formations or different adjustments or different looks offensively, getting that communicated because, certainly if there's a different, one formation, you're going to have this adjustment. If there's a motion, there's this adjustment. So just the discipline piece of it and making sure we're still sound in our assignments, and we got to be mentally tough because there's going to be a point in time in the game, whether it's third quarter, fourth quarter, second quarter for that matter, when guys are going to be gassed a little bit, but you got to be able to dig deep, and your mind's got to convince your body that, man, I'm good, I can handle this, and just settle in and play the game. And but we've been practicing against it now for quite a bit, so certainly until we get out there on Thursday night and truly see exactly what the tempo is, but we try to prepare ourselves the best we can without playing a preseason game.
That's it for me. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Coach? All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
John, I guess obviously first start coming up this week. What's kind of going through your head as you're going through these next few days?
Yeah, it's fun. It's a nice transition from camp into game week, so enjoyed that. But just sticking to my process, one day at a time. Kind of my similar routine that I did. It was nice. I feel like I did a good job these past 4 years of preparing like the starter, so really not changing a ton up with my routine on a weekly basis. Got what I'm gonna do on. Obviously our schedule is kind of messed up because it's a Thursday game, but usually Monday I have my plan, Tuesday I have my plan, so on and so forth. So I think the offense is coming along well. Just continuing to study and I feel like my routine's been good so far, so I feel comfortable.
Yeah, and I guess last year obviously you guys played at Penn State in front of 100,000 plus.
Yeah.
How does that kind of prepare you for maybe the type of atmosphere you guys are going to be facing on Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, I think we do a good job pumping noise into practice, communicating well, being demonstrative, having both verbal and nonverbal communication capabilities between the offensive line, receivers, so on and so forth. So just being on the same page that way and being able to get a signal from the sideline and get lined up and execute at a high level. I think the noise is obviously going to be a challenge, but nothing that we haven't seen before, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. I know last year you guys didn't get off to necessarily the start you wanted. What's it going to take to, I guess, get off to a better start offensively and kind of set the tone, I guess?
Yeah, I just think we can't be counting our steps. At times last year, I think early on, maybe there were still some question marks with schematically, offensively, and I think we've done a really good job of introducing things really early this year, new stuff that we're going to put in. So, I think guys just got to go out there and let it rip. You can't count your steps, you can't play tentative. And I think if we do that, mistakes are going to be made. That's all part of it. But if you make those mistakes at 100% effort, it kind of works itself out.
John, only one for me.
Yep.
We were just talking to Coach New, and he mentioned how regimented you are and how well organized you are.
Yeah.
How much of that comes from being in college football for as long as you have been?
It's definitely come from definitely a lot from that. Kind of the way just my family has taught me from a young age, I think is part of it. And then definitely seeing it for 4 years, just you hear stories all the time about, hey, he was in at this time, this is what he studied this day, he was out at this time, this is when he ate, this is what he ate. So I think just getting in that pre-performance ritual as much as possible just helps you be that much more consistent and that much more have a great ability to perform well.
What's the John Paddock diet like? Bring that up.
I definitely have my cheat meals, but I do enjoy cooking. I love to cook. Learned a lot in my past 4 years cooking. My great uncle, so my grandmother's brother owns a restaurant in Champaign, Illinois. So he's and maybe I got a little bit of a gene from him. But I love making pastas. I'm pretty solid on the grill, and then really anything breakfast I'd say is pretty great for me. So breakfast for dinner is common. I make like probably 2 or 3 breakfasts a day at times.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, we'll open it up to Zoom if you have any questions.
We'll start with Kyle.
Hi, thanks for entertaining a couple questions. I guess the biggest one for me is just you've had time to learn from Drew Plitt, who got some preseason experience with the Bengals, and you had time to learn from him and all of your coaching staff, and now I guess it's kind of you're in the driver's seat. What's that process been like, and I mean, what are some of your biggest takeaways that you've had leading up to now?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, I would say, like I said, my process hasn't changed a whole lot. That was kind of something I was diligent on early on just because, really I was thrust into the backup role pretty early in my career, like even like week 6 of true freshman year. So it was kind of like really been the 2 for 4 years. Which has helped me learn a lot. Got to being able to see Drew do a lot of things really well, and then see areas where that we've had conversations about, hey, if I could go back, I might have done this a little bit differently, so on and so forth. But yeah, just sticking to my process, really trying to just be myself, not trying to emulate what someone else did before me, just trying to be me. and I think the guys have appreciated that from both a playing and a leadership perspective. So that's just kind of what I've kind of going into the offseason. That was my biggest thing. Just be me, stick to what I know. I'm not going to try to play anybody else's game. I'm going to play my game and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe you got some playing time against Penn State last year. And that seems like really good experience going into a game like this. While you weren't the starter in that game, you did get in against a really big atmosphere and big crowd. How do you think that's going to help you going into this game?
Yeah, I think it'll be like anything. I think everyone's going to be juiced up, adrenaline pumping. That first series, that first couple plays. But after you get hit a couple times, after you throw, hopefully get in a rhythm, throw a couple completions. Hopefully it'll settle down and. You just go back to playing ball. It's what we've done for a long time. I think guys sometimes put too much pressure on themselves. Really just if you take it one at a time, follow our process. Breathe, execute, let it rip, and just do that every play, and hopefully we'll have some success.
Yeah, and I guess just lastly, I asked Coach, but I think it actually might be better if you kind of gave an idea. What's the locker room been like leading up to week one? I mean, it's obviously an exciting time. And I'm sure it's even more so for the team. What's that been like?
Yeah, I think guys are excited. I think guys are nervous, which personally I think it's a good thing to be nervous at times. You want to be ready. You want to have those butterflies. It means you care. It means you care about what's going on in the facility. It means you care about what's ahead of you. So I think that's great. Doesn't mean you need to be anxious. I think I've had to pull a couple of guys aside and be like, hey, dude, we got loads of confidence in you. We're gonna get it done this week. Yeah, I think everyone's really excited. Obviously, there's still some question marks, but I think we've developed a phenomenal identity as a team, as an offense. This whole offseason, especially this camp, really got some great guys that are speaking up vocally in the locker room. I think we're definitely itching to get out there. But going back to our foundation is one at a time, and we are worried about having a great night tonight. Make sure we're sleeping right. Make sure we're getting all our meals in, and having a phenomenal walkthrough tomorrow. And that is what. We are focused on, and we cannot control anything that happened in today's practice. We cannot control anything that's going to happen tomorrow. All we can control is what we're doing in this moment.
All right, we'll move over to Jimmy next.
John, what is you mentioned the identity? What's the identity of the offense, and what do you think this offense does best?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of weapons on the outside. Don't want to give too much away. Hopefully we'll see Thursday night and the rest of the season. But I think we're going to be explosive on the ground and through the air. I think we're very versatile, very dynamic in a lot of different areas, able to switch it up if it's with scheme, the look we're giving, and I think there's a lot of new names that are gonna surprise some people this year.
And how good is Carson Steele?
Carson Steele is terrible. He's not good. No, he's awesome. He's friggin' awesome. He's really good. I've seen him develop throughout this whole last year, and seen him come as a true freshman to now. The dude's a monster. I'll just leave it at that.
And one other thing for me, your coach has coached some pretty significant quarterbacks through the years, like Drew Brees. What do you think you've learned from Coach New?
I think big things that I've learned from Coach New, just with the position as a whole. If it's with pre-snap routine is something that we've really worked on throughout my time with him. Him helping me find little checks, little things that are gonna help me. And then obviously a huge one we preach is footwork. Drew Brees. If you look at his tape from when Coach was with him, his footwork was phenomenal. And I think if your feet are in rhythm and they're tied with your eyes and with your arm, it just helps you be that much more accurate and that much more in sync. So I think that's really been something he's instilled in me early on, and I've really bought into that. So I would say footwork, and then just some things in decision making. And then he just does a great job of really communicating with me, making sure I'm playing loose. If it's something I don't like, I'm always able to have that conversation about, hey, let's switch this up, let's change this here. He's done a really good job. I really appreciate our relationship.
And we'll move over to David.
Hey, thanks for doing this. Can you talk about Byron Young, Tennessee's edge rusher, number 6? He's a preseason first-team All-SEC selection, and just what you think of him and how aware of him do you have to be?
Yeah, I definitely think he's a really good player. Obviously, he was something we saw when we got the 2 deep, something we're taking notice of. But yeah, I hope he has a phenomenal year. But there'll definitely be some things that we will have in place, possibly.
And then when you think about Tennessee was a really good first quarter. They were the best first quarter team in college football last year, scoring a bunch early. How much pressure does there become pressure on an offense if it becomes on your offense if it becomes like a shooting match to where you feel like you have to keep up? I know you want to score every time you have the ball, but can there be a pressure that gets put on if the score starts getting really high?
I think there's a fine line between having urgency and pressing. So we never want to press. The plays are going to come. If we get our guys the ball in space and give them the ability to make plays, if it's a 10 play drive and it's 6 points, and if it's a 1 play drive and it's 6 points, those are both successful drives. So I don't think we're going to press. I think we're going to play our game. Obviously we're going to play great situational football, but we're worried about our offense, not necessarily what Tennessee's is doing.
Thank you.
Any more questions? All right, thank you, John.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Nick, I guess last year you guys played at Penn State, obviously a pretty loud environment. How do you think that's going to prepare you for what you guys are going to see on Thursday?
I think it's gonna prepare us good. We had a lot of guys make the trip last year that's making the trip this year. Obviously, we know it's gonna be a great environment. It's their first home game of the year. They plan to pack it out. But I think we'll be prepared for it. We've seen it before, but we just expecting the biggest turnout we can get.
Yeah, and I guess at defense, you guys added a couple new faces via the transfer portal this summer. How's the defense been coming along? Replacing some of the guys that had been around for, I guess, a few years.
I think we've been gelling. Letting the new guys come in and just play their roles. The guys that's been here kind of stepping into that role. That the leaders left empty, and more so just letting the new guys come in and really understand like this is how we are, learn the culture and gel together. I think we've been doing good.
I guess what are your guys' goals this week? Preparing for, and how do you prepare for an offense like Tennessee that is so fast paced? I guess.
Go fast with them. Just go fast. Let me go fast. You got to go fast. Just match the tempo. That's pretty much all we've been trying to do, is go as fast as possible because we know they like to get as many plays in as they can. And really, the only way to get ready for it is to try to match it, and you can't really get ready till you're in the moment.
What have you done specifically to get ready for this year to make yourself even more of a veteran presence?
Just locking in more on the specifics. I always had like leaders and guys like this kind of point me in the right direction since I've been here. And now it's kind of my turn to do the same for other people. So just taking after the guys, who was here before me, going over the little things, the details, making sure I'm always leading by example.
How have the guys responded to listening to you now being one of those leaders?
I think they picked up on it cool because, like, for the most part, I've always been in the mix. Like, since I've been here, I always, been around the guys playing and this and that. So I figured, it was only a matter of time before a new regime kind of came around. And then I think it's pretty cool.
Overall, with the defensive side, what have you seen that makes the defense ready to go against Tennessee?
Is everybody aggressive? A whole lot of running. Guys. There's guys that really do care about each other. It's a whole lot of running. We get into the ball. We playing fast. A lot of communication. Like they put a hard job on us, especially for this week. They put a hard job on us, but we up to the task. I like that we got guys that's ready. Accepting the challenge.
Thanks, Nick.
They've got SEC size out wide. Tillman, 6'3", 220. McCoy, 6'3", 220. How does that change you and AJ's job and safeties too?
Not much. You gotta play who in front of you. We go against. We lucky. We get to see Johans every day. We get to see Amir every day. So for us, it's like we going back against the same guys we get to see every day. It excites us though, because we know it's a challenge. It's a legit challenge. Every play you gotta come ready to go.
Thanks, Nick.
We'll open it up to Zoom.
All right, Kyle, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Brad. Last year, obviously you dealt with a little bit of, setbacks and injuries and things like that. Just not quite the season that I guess the team or you really wanted. What's that process been like trying to get back this offseason?
Really just been trying to flush, all the bad from last year out. You kind of take what you can get from it and use it as fuel. But for the most part, it's just been all, everybody, all hands on deck moving forward. That's really all we've been trying to do. Flush out all the bad, take what happened. We can't change it at this point, but just be the best we can for this year.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you did miss some time with some injury last season, correct?
Yeah, I did.
And what's that process been like for you personally? I guess trying to get back to full strength and ready to go.
Honestly, it went fast. I say it went fast. It took a lot of patience at first, but at this point, I've been 100% for a while now, and it just took a little getting used to, certain things just being different here and there. But once you get going and you get back, you get your confidence back. It's almost like it never happened.
Yeah, and I guess you and the team. I guess you in particular, you played in some big games. The Penn State game, 2 different bowl games, just a lot of big environments. How much do you think that helps going into a game like this against Tennessee?
It helps a lot. I can trace it all the way back to my freshman year, just going into a packed house at NC State. Like, these are moments, that you prepare yourself for since you were a kid, that you're ready for. So when they finally do come, you kind of know how to attack them. Like, each situation is different, obviously. Huge environment, SEC school, the whole deal. But I think, past experiences, it just lets you be more comfortable in the moment.
Yeah. And I guess, you and some other people just been talking about how you're kind of approaching the game against Tennessee. I've heard the word tempo a lot, and you said it earlier. Is that kind of your guys' biggest focus, just matching their speed, and you think the results will come with that?
Yeah, just making sure that we on top of everything in terms of our alignment, communication. We know what the purpose of an up-tempo offense is, what I'm saying? We know what they're trying to get done. So just making sure we got something to combat whatever they throw at us.
Yeah. And I guess lastly, I asked Coach and I asked Paddock just about the vibe in the locker room. It's close to week 1, and, I'm sure guys are excited. What's the locker room been like leading up to this?
I think it's a lot of excitement, but it's kind of mixed with a lot of focus, too. Because guys know how big the situation is. We're not going to make it any bigger than it already is. We understand, what's at stakes when we go into their house. So we kind of just focused on making sure, we cover all the little things before it's go time.
For sure. That's all I got. Thank you.
Any more questions for Nick? All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.